Welcome to the Kristen and Jeff Show, episode 12.
Episode 12.
Mm-hmm. Kristen just said she's going to talk a lot in this episode, meaning that something's different than before.
What?
You're kind of a yapper.
I am?
Yep.
That
No,
hurts
I'm
my
a yapper.
feelings.
I'm the yapper. Oh, no. Did I hurt them feelings?
No, you did not.
Okay. No, I talk too much, and so it's time for you to talk too much,
No, I just have a lot to share in the beginning.
which I'm excited about.
And so I thought, well, if I open it and then I'm talking for 10 minutes in our banter section, then people might be a little like, shut up, Kristen.
Yeah. And you'll notice we have no smoothies today, which could be foreshadowing. Bum, bum, bum.
Or we already had them because
Yeah,
I
we
woke
did.
up hungry.
Which brings us to, we have joined the 5 a.m. club.
Yes, we have.
This is where, would you want to tell them what the 5 a.m. club
It's
is?
a very exclusive nightclub that you go to at 5 a.m. No.
No.
It's a very sleepy morning club. Your alarm goes off and you pop out of bed before 5 a.m.
And so we've been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go to bed. We're not 9 to 5ers, we're 10 to 5ers.
10 to 5. I've failed miserably a few mornings. Still adjusting, especially when we didn't get to bed on time. That's the challenge. So if we get to bed by 10, not to bed, if we fall asleep by 10. So if we're in bed by like 9:30 and then actively trying to sleep by 10, getting up at 5 is not hard. But there were a few nights where we didn't get to bed by 10 because we had Frisbee and just different things that we're doing in the evening, and so it just didn't happen.
Yeah, we play Rec League Frisbee on Wednesday nights. And sometimes games are as late as like 9:30 or 10, so you get home at 11:30. It is not easy to wake up at 5 a.m.
In this scenario, the game was a lovely 8 o'clock, and I had it planned we'd be home by 10 and out cold by 10:15, and, well, the second team that was playing was short a few players, and Jeff was like, can we please play? And of course I said yes.
Of course.
And so then we proceeded to play for another hour, and so we got home at like 11. But it's all good. We had fun.
If you haven't played Frisbee, try it. It's a lot of sweat.
Yeah.
You run. A lot of sweat.
A lot.
of work,
Ultimate
good workout.
Frisbee. So Ultimate Frisbee, if you're wondering how to look it up, it's a lot of fun.
So don't play non-ultimate Frisbee.
Well, I don't know if people, so when I've told people that we play Frisbee, they're like, oh, that's cute. You guys toss it to each other. So I think some people envision for you,
Sure.
It's been your world for quite some time. So to you, Frisbee is ultimate. But to other people, when I tell them that we're doing that, I think they literally visualize us standing in a yard and being like, "Yetch, good
People
job."
think we're just totally dorks.
I think people think we're just
"Dang
like
it."
galloping in a
They
field
don't
of
realize
like
it's ultimate.
knee-height not pansies, like daisies or something, or wheat fields. And we're just,
We're in wheat fields.
just tossing the Frisbee. Or they also think of Frisbee, is it Frisbee golf? Where you throw it into the basket. Except
Disc golf.
disc golf. Because I
Or-
had a few people.
Froth.
Froth?
Froth.
Is that actually what it's called?
That's a joke. Frisbee golf. Froth.
Oh, huh.
Hmm.
Joke failed. So that's why I say, just for the people that don't know, is it's Ultimate Frisbee. In Texas, we called it Ultimate. Here, a lot of people just call it Frisbee. So it's
Depends on
really fun.
who you're talking to.
Oh, absolutely.
The people who are diehard about it call it ultimate. I think it's too serious, so I call it Frisbee.
Because there's nothing ultimate about me and when I'm playing.
Remember, I made a league called Major League
Yeah.
Ultimate, so it's definitely the word.
Yeah.
But it's just
Yeah,
it's too serious.
I'm not ultimate. I literally, the only way to catch a Frisbee the other night, my legs got all entangled Wednesday night. And the only way to, all I cared about was holding onto that Frisbee. Because a lot of times you think you caught it and then it pops right out of your hand. And the only thing I cared about was holding on to it. And it required me to go into sitting crisscross applesauce. So I looked
It was
completely ridiculous.
You didn't look ridiculous. You looked like you were trying something.
And I literally just went down and it looked like very prissy with the disc sitting crisscross applesauce. But you do what you got to do.
You do what you got to do.
Because it's the ultimate game.
Bang. So however we got on that, 5 a.m. club, highly suggest it. You wake up, you do tasks, we journal, we talk about our day.
Affirmations.
You're basically taking all the, so if you set up your day, normally we wake up to go to work. And so the day is only preparation. The morning is only preparation.
Yep.
So the idea around the 5 a.m. club is that you shift the work to the middle, and that you wake up earlier to do tasks in the morning when no one else is bothering you, when you can be focused. I'll tell you what, it's nice. It's very cool because you do get some stuff done more than you thought you would. So it's quite interesting in that sense. So
Yeah.
I would highly suggest giving it a try.
I think the biggest part of it is not feeling rushed. Because it definitely, for me, it sets the tone for my day. If I wake up and give myself an hour to get ready, it's not really realistic because it doesn't take me an hour to shower, do my hair and makeup, and put my clothes on. Other things happen, right? Like I need to refill the cat feeder, the water, or one of the little ones doesn't like the breakfast or clothes that I picked out, or
Facebook.
Or Facebook, yeah. Distractions of social media. My scarf just got stuck in my earring, and we're good. It did. Wardrobe foul. I need someone to help me on set. I need like a professional.
On set. See, now you're there.
I need a professional.
You come over to the side. You want your makeup. You want pants. You want.
I need someone to help me. Be like, Kristen, you can't wear those earrings, so it's stuck in your scarf. But yeah, it's just not realistic to give yourself to think that you can get ready in an hour because life happens. If you're living alone, you don't have kids, and you don't have pets, and maybe you can make it happen. But why? When you could give yourself 3 hours and take more control of your day and have time to yourself, and it's exciting. And get in some physical time too, whether it's going on a walk. We do at-home workouts as well as going to the gym. Oh, geez.
You said physical time.
We're not in the love section, Jeff. We're bantering.
Pardon me. Speaking of physical time, smoothies. Since we don't have the smoothies and people have asked about them smoothies, we figured we would show you how to make a smoothie.
Yes.
And you have things under the table.
I do. They're hiding. All right.
I don't really know what you're planning, so I guess we'll find out. But
yeah, we don't tell each other everything that we're doing for the show because we like to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So
making a smoothie. Do I need to move this?
No. Well,
sure?
maybe. Yeah, it's probably better that
Let me
you
move
do.
it because I'm
We've seen what happened in previous episodes.
We're going to move the coffee mugs out of the way.
So, got to start with the blender. And
Ninja.
this is a Ninja, but we are not sponsored by Ninja. So by no means am I saying that you got to have one of these guys. I actually went recently to Walmart and got a $20 blender, and I prefer it.
I like that one better.
I think is it like an Oyster? Isn't that the name of the brand, the Oyster blender or whatever? It's the inexpensive brand.
And the one with
Hamilton.
It just pulverizes stuff from the bottom. This one is more of a chopper.
Yeah, so this one's great. But the thing that's not realistic about it is that you have to hold it down to make it go. And I know about me, I like to multitask, even though I'm working on it, Jackie Ellis. I'm going to work on not multitasking as well as one thing, J-Pop's son. So this is not that great when it comes to that because you have to actually hold it down. So I prefer one that you can push the button and step away.
It also doesn't pour well.
It does not. So you have to take the lid off.
If it had a hole in the top,
right.
It would, but yeah.
You have to take this off, and the issue is if you go to pour, the blade falls out because the blade disconnects for cleaning. So regardless, this is awesome when it comes to the way that it chops. You do want to make sure you get one that actually chops well. Don't go and just get like a cheap blender without looking at reviews. So the one that we have, which I will post for you guys so that you have info on it, it's $20, fantastic. And I've also used the Magic Bullets. Unfortunately, I don't feel like they blended well, the individual serving Magic Bullets. So it just depends, whatever price range you have.
Yeah. It needs to be a more watery mixture for that thing.
Yeah, it kills quick. That's right, you've done that. Okay, so we're putting things in here that are hard, so you want to make sure it chops, especially if you're adding spinach or kale, which we do. So it starts with the blender. And then your base is frozen fruit. All right, so not sponsored by Wegmans or Trader Joe's. Would love to be. So we do a berry blend, mango, depends on what your taste preference is. But the base of just about all of our smoothies are bananas. And so I'm going to pull out some bananas. Now, the reason why I'm showing you all these fresh bananas is because you want them to be this brown before you freeze them. So I do not encourage anybody to put a fresh banana in the blender. Reason being is I don't like putting ice in our smoothies because then when you put ice in it, it loses that really thick filling consistency. I like it to have more of a consistency of like a milkshake, so it's really thick. Because usually when we do this, we're not eating again until 12 or 1, right? So I find that if you put ice and you put a banana that's not frozen, it waters it down and it's just not as fulfilling, right? It's not as much of a meal replacement, but it has equal calories. So I want to feel like I'm getting my calories worth. So what you do with the banana, a lot of people throw these in the freezer like this. You don't want to do that. You want to actually take the peel off, break it into 3 pieces, and put it in a Ziploc bag or a container. Reason being is in the morning when you wake up, you pull out your container, you throw 3 to 6 pieces of banana in your blender. You put in some berries or some mango, whatever you want, or If you don't want to add additional fruit, add almond butter, sun butter.
What if you cut them up and put them in an ice cube tray? Would that be brilliant or stupid?
So I've seen that done. That's neat.
We're playing the game brilliant or stupid. You have to choose.
So I've seen that done, and it's neat.
Neat.
It's neat. I actually used to do that with iced coffee. I would put coffee into ice cube trays so that my ice didn't water down my coffee. I would freeze coffee so that coffee watered down my coffee. That makes sense.
Good.
So I wouldn't encourage that for bananas.
No. So
sounds like too much prep. Not stupid, just not that resourceful.
Not that resourceful.
Yeah.
You could also just have put the steel cubes in your, or whatever, those cubes in your coffee that don't melt.
This is true.
You didn't have to.
But I'm cheap, and I would rather just buy the 4 for 50 cents of the Dollar Tree ice cube trays and put coffee in them. So, back to the banana. So it just depends on what your flavor preference is. If you're like, oh, I'm allergic to strawberries, I can't do it, or I don't like mango, cool, no big deal. One of my favorite ones is just the frozen banana with almond butter and cinnamon. It is so good. A lot of people refer to that as nice cream. So if you ever want a dessert and you are not going to eat ice cream because you're trying to have a healthier lifestyle, just literally freeze a banana, blend it with a little bit of my favorite stuff ever, almond milk. And you will have an amazing dessert. And then for a smoothie, you just add a bit more almond milk, add some water if you want.
The people's here.
The people, yeah.
People can see the almond milk from, where do you get this?
Oh, so, well, grocery stores are different all around. So I get this at Wegmans. They also have it at, what's the name of that store? Giant, ShopRite. And they have it.
You want, you just want unsweetened milk.
The key is unsweetened. So no sugar added is the key, because a lot of almond milks, and we don't use cow's milk. Reason being is I have a dairy allergy. Also, dairy is not really necessary. I know we can get into an argument about that, so I'm not going to go too far. But dairy is not the best thing for us. Neither is whey, which is why we use a pea protein, which I'm about to show. But make sure your milk that you're adding is a no sugar added, unsweetened. Because there are soy milks that taste fabulous, but they have a ton of sugar in them. So your smoothie is going to become a weight gain replacement rather than a healthy meal replacement. Gotcha. If you're going to do that, you might as well go get a milkshake from McDonald's, right? Because you're just chalking a bunch of sugar. So, yeah. So keep it healthy. Your base needs to be fruit. I don't have it down here, but you can add in a handful or two of kale or spinach. I assure you, you won't taste it. So if you're grossed out by that, you cannot taste the kale and the spinach if you add a banana. If you do not put a banana as your base, do not do kale and spinach, unless you'd like them, because you will be able to taste it. The banana really subs out the flavor of anything, so it's pretty cool. All right, so the protein, which is the vital piece of the smoothie, we use organic protein. So the reason why we use this one is because it does not have added sugars, and it's vegan.
It's made from plants.
It's made from plants. We are not vegan. I love me a steak. I love a burger. I eat a lot of chicken. We love meat. We had a pork shoulder the other night. However, most proteins are whey, and whey is dairy lactose, and I cannot have whey.
It's way too much for us.
It's way not a good idea. I don't know. So I like organic protein. They're phenomenal. These guys are the best. I actually have talked with them directly on Instagram and just thank them for making such a wonderful product. There are other wonderful vegan proteins as well. However, this is the only one that is consistent in flavor. I could drink this with water, just shake it up after the gym.
It is pretty good.
And it's really good. They also have a chocolate that's awesome. I have wasted a lot of money on vegan proteins, and this is the one I'm sticking to. It's really good. Yep. And then, yeah, with almond milk, any brand really, but Califia is the best because it has more almonds than water. A lot of them are watered down, so better for you. And then the last thing, if you want to get fancy, this is totally optional. Collagen peptides, vital proteins. So this is something that we just started adding about.
That's right. This is the cow one, right?
Yeah, this is the cow.
I got the fish
one,
which
the fish.
We were scared about, but still tasted fine.
It was fine. So collagen is a new thing that, well, it's been around for a long time, but it's new as far as being like a fad to the world of adding it to your smoothies or to your drinks and to your coffee, and I absolutely love it. So it is phenomenal for your skin, your hair, your nails, your bones and joints.
So my lips look so good?
They
go straight to your
so
lips,
good.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I know. I felt my lips are so puffy? I don't know what collagen does to lips. What is it?
Not a thing.
Do I look like Lisa Rinna?
Oh, Lisa Rinna, I love her. Lisa Rinna is awesome. No, she's so proud of the fact that she gets her lips done. She's fabulous.
She didn't just do smoothies with collagen?
No, unfortunately, people, it's not going to work. And don't try, like, I don't know, rubbing this on your lips. I won't do anything.
Not that anyone's ever tried.
Yeah, I like stuck my face in it and I was like, So this was just something that I started adding about a year ago. So again, it's been around, but it's becoming a hot new thing. Remember, kale was a hot thing, and now it's all about collagen. And I'm a big believer in this. The benefits of bone broth, quite similar. I'm a big believer in that. Gut health is key to overall health. I would know that. I have major issues with gut health, with celiac and all these allergies. So this is awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And I love this company of Vital Proteins. Phenomenal. They also have it in individual packs. So this is optional, you guys. Adding protein is optional. The reason why we're adding these things is because it makes it a true meal replacement. So this protein powder has a lot of nutrients to get us through the day. So if we miss lunch because life happens, we're all right. Like, we've already fed our body with so much good stuff, and breakfast really is incredibly important meal of the day. I won't say the most important because it really depends on your sleep cycle and your work schedule. However, for most of us,
it's important.
Breakfast is vital because, especially if you're getting up early, you got to get your brain started with good stuff. So everything here that I'm showing you is vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free. If you have a nut allergy, whether it's tree nuts or peanuts, then just switch to a soy. If you can't do soy, there's also coconut milk. There's all sorts of different options.
Pretty good.
They're all fantastic. Just make sure you get unsweetened. Now, the protein, make sure you look at the nutrition label. I've seen a lot of them that are chock full of junk, artificial sweeteners, and just a bunch of crap. So, and then as far as collagen goes, you need to actually check the labels as well, because there's a lot of companies now coming out that are mocking Vital Proteins. They're not actually as wonderful, so you end up wasting your money on a supplement that's not actually what you're thinking it is. So freeze your bananas without the peel in small pieces. Use it as a base. Add spinach, add kale, and then let your other fruit be whatever you want it to be. And if it's going to be a full-blown meal replacement and you need to throw some fat in, add some nut butter, peanut butter, whatever, and that's it.
And you're going to love it.
Oh, it's so good,
y'all. You're
y'all.
going to love it.
It's so good. So yeah, and just add the liquid, your almond milk or your dairy, whatever it is, add it until it blends smooth. And then if you're to the point where, like, I don't want to add any more, I put in too much fruit, just add water. That's what we do to liquefy it.
While we're putting this away, I will say I like, so a couple notes on blending, because I'm the morning blender.
Yes.
Most of the time.
Yes, he's become the smoothie guru. I used to make them every morning.
No, you're the recipenitist. I don't know what you call it.
Recipenitist. That sounds like a horrible thing that you get when you, like, skip recipes and try making food on it.
I call it recipenitist. You like it? All right, anyway. If you make it too thick, so you have to have liquid in there when you turn on the blender. I have screwed this up because I didn't understand that, and the blender makes horrible noises. I like it a little bit more, I don't know what the word, viscous. I don't know what the word is. Not so thick.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So I think viscous means thick. I don't know what viscous means. I think it means thick. So you like it more milkshakey.
Yeah, milkshake.
And I like it a little bit more watered down, just because it's easier to drink through a straw, to be honest.
True.
So you kind of find it out. But when you're filling it up, like you can put all the fruit in and then put the powders in and then fill it up to the top full of milk, and it's going to be creamy. It's going to be good. So for how much milk to put. And
you made a good point too with that, is you want to make sure that you put the supplements in and then pour the liquid on top. Reason being, if you do everything, blend, and then you add the supplements on top, it's not the end of the world. But what happens is, especially with the collagen and then also with the protein, it sticks to the side of your blender and you just wasted supplement. Yeah. So put it on top of all the frozen stuff in first, your supplements on top, whatever you need to add. Again, if you don't do supplements, it's all good. You don't have to add protein. They taste great without it. But it's just the add in there. And then you put the dairy or the liquid on top, whatever you're using. Milk, almond milk, soy milk, water. So good.
It is good. So there.
So good.
Now you have been smoothified.
Yes.
And when we come out of our brand of smoothies called Cristen and Jeff's Smooth Operations.
Oh, wow.
You like that?
Smooth Operations.
See?
That kind of sticks.
See? Or let's get smoothing.
Ooh, I like that.
This is all off the top of my head. This is just.
That's good.
Brilliant or stupid.
Can we trademark that right now?
Let's get smoothing.
Let's get smoothing.
Okay.
And smooth.
Smoothin. I was SMOVIN. Smoothin.
Oh, smoothin.
Or you like smoothin?
I don't know.
Oh, now it's
We're
brilliant.
going to trademark both. Also, Orgain, if you'd like to sponsor the show, as well as Wegmans, Trader Joe's, Hincleafia, feel free. Oh, also the blender companies. We'd love to be sponsored by all of you.
Well, not feel free. Feel money, actually. Just send money.
Just send it. Just send all the proteins and collagen. Come on, Vital Protein. You're not cheap. I need more.
I probably did, so you can stop. Well, they didn't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But I told you the time we got sponsored by is it Muscle? What's the Muscle Milk?
Oh, Muscle Milk. Yeah.
So, I think I'm pretty sure it's Muscle Milk. We
I
got
don't like
sponsored.
that stuff.
Sorry, Muscle Milk. But
It's so not good for you.
we got sponsored by Muscle Milk back when I was in the sports industry, and they were like, we're going to send you something. I'm like, oh, that's great. 2 weeks later, maybe even like a month later, it was a long time. It was enough to forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
FedEx guy knocks, because we're on Leopard Street in Fishtown, or Northern Liberties, knocks on the door, and he's not happy. He's like, I got the pallet, and we're like, the pallet? And they delivered a pallet full of Muscle Milk.
Yeah.
It was like 128 Muscle Milks or whatever, 256. It was like, dude, what are we going to do with 250? So it was kind of funny.
The reason why it grosses me out, and it's not Muscle Milk's fault, it's my fault. It was like a really hot summer day. And I had gone on like a really, really, really long run. And I had it on me. I had on one of those like light drawstring backpacks, and I had one in there, and I was like, I'm just going to chug this, to like get my strength back and my energy. And it was like all warm.
Ooh,
and I had been running, and it was like 100 and something
no.
degrees outside in Texas. And it just, no.
You don't muscle milk in the
Well, that's like,
summer.
that reminds me of like Ron Burgundy.
That's
where he's like, milk was a bad choice.
Yeah.
Same thing.
The first thing
Pretty
I
much
thought
saying that as I was running, I was like, muscle milk, no.
Oh no.
So
no.
yeah.
Okay. Wow. Moving on to our focus subject.
Yes.
All about leverage. If we were English, we would say leverage. If we were English, we would also say aluminium instead of aluminum.
Huh? Oh, really?
That's true.
Interesting. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, and one last one. They would say, instead of herbs,
Herbs.
they would say herbs, because there's an
Herbs.
H in the word. So I'll give you herbs. I believe in that one. And schedule.
Okay.
Are we done? Should I stop telling you
Yes.
about what English say? I have more.
You're from Philly,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing fancy about our words.
So let's get on with this, Joan.
Yep.
All right.
Y'all.
Y'all get on. Okay. So first, leverage. What is leverage?
What is leverage?
Are you asking me? Am I asking you?
I can give you a definition. Are you asking me?
No, I was asking, what's leverage?
So leverage is putting energy somewhere to get results from it. So it's the opportunity to utilize someone else or something else to be able to allocate your time elsewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we have an actual definition here with us, but that's what it means to me in the sense of, with work is who can I utilize, what can I utilize to make this task more efficient so that I can focus my time and energy on something else, typically something that's going to generate revenue.
Yeah, it's it's the base concept for scalability, right? So all top business owners, what they care about, if you've heard of SMART goals, right? The one they care about most is it repeatable and scalable? So scalable means you can do more of it, right? You can recreate it multiple times over. Leverage means that you can do something that makes you the most money the most often. So, for instance, if you were a bricklayer and you had to spend half of your day picking up the bricks, getting the bricks to the site, and the other half of the day laying bricks, and the only time you got paid was when you laid bricks, then you're only getting paid for half your day. So it's 4 hours of, I'm just making this up, 4 hours of picking up bricks and 4 hours of actually laying them. So if you could then find someone or pay someone to deliver the bricks to you, and you could do 8 hours of laying bricks, you would make double the money.
Right.
And then off on that, if you could then train people to lay bricks for you, and you could go get more jobs. Right, so leverage is
a great example.
Right, leverage is offloading tasks that you can replace with better money-making tasks. I make $10 an hour doing this. I make $20 an hour doing this. I'm going to offload the $10 an hour task to do more of the 20, right? And so huge in real estate, shall we say.
Oh, huge. Yeah, absolutely.
And so you had thoughts. We were talking about this this morning over breakfast, and we have down there, buyer's agents, transaction coordinators, showing agents, your database. Let's start with transaction coordinator because I think you see this as one of the biggest immediate leverage things out there.
Oh, absolutely.
So what are agents do? Yeah. How would agents leverage a transaction coordinator?
Well, and to take a step back too from that is the reason why leverage is so important in real estate is because when you start your real estate career, you are the CEO of your company. Or also a better visual is there's an airplane, you're the pilot, you're the passenger, you're the person putting the bags on the plane, weighing the bags, checking the ticket. You're doing everything.
Yeah.
And so you need to leverage somewhere when you can. And yeah, transaction coordinator is a huge one. So transaction coordinator, you can have someone support you in the process of when you get a listing or a buyer in making that whole process be repeatable. So the vital aspect of that is that you're creating consistency, and then you're also having someone else follow up with people on your behalf. And so it's helping you be able to focus your time and energy on getting listings or getting more buyers, depending on what your role is, if you go both ways, one way or the other. And so it's taking out those administrative tasks that you know how to do them, but they're time consuming, and leveraging another support to make sure that they're done in a timely manner and not by yourself. So it's a really neat tool to leverage. We have someone in our office, Keller Williams Exton has someone that they're leveraging, and I believe your office as well has the same person. So it's Beth Shern with BizRoots, and she started a company and has a fantastic means of supporting agents, not only with setting up their database so that they can leverage that, but then also with transaction coordinating. So phenomenal business that she's created, and several agents in our office are using her. Even agents that have 1 to 2 transactions a month are leveraging her. So you don't have to wait till you're in that range of 3 to 5 millions where Inman and other real estate companies are saying that's when you plateau and then you need support. Why wait till you plateau to get support? Why not start getting your processes in line and leveraging your resources from the get-go?
If you're going to use it for lead gen, sure.
Well, that's the key, right? Is if you're leveraging that resource and then not doing revenue generating activity, then why are you doing it? But in the case of several agents with Keller Williams, we're hearing about the impact that Beth Shern and BizRoots has had on them, because they even one example that Lewis Nixon gave recently from our office is it was challenging for me not to follow up when I saw the client's question come through. So he's like, I gotta wait and I gotta trust that the process. And all of a sudden, that agent or that client gets a response from the transaction coordinator, and he's like, it's the hardest thing to let go of your clients and let someone support you. But man, when you do, your business can take off because you're able to focus that time on revenue generating tasks, and it's not like you're losing the touch with your client. You're still there, very much involved. It's all you.
And this is after, so you understand too, a transaction coordinator is after you've signed them. They say, okay, I want you to be my buyer's agent. I want you to be my listing agent. It's from there until
settlement.
Until settlement that they just manage the whole process and make sure that everything is standardized and it's customized to you too.
That's the neat part is each agent sets up their process based on what's comfortable with them. So the transaction coordinator sits down and goes, so this is your options. But then they'll say, well, no, in here I like to sit down and have coffee with them. Or over here I like to send this type of email or send them this gift or whatever that may be. So they'll set that all up in their process. It's really neat.
And so this jumps into, I was just speaking with a great agent. His name is Scott. And been in real estate a long time. Very organized. This year, his average sales price is up to $600,000. And I think it was 400,000-ish before, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
All because he got a buyer's agent.
Oh, that's incredible.
So the thing is, when you're talking about leveraging a buyer's agent, some new real estate agents out there are like, I'm not even there yet, but this is the way to think about it. You get enough clients that you can't handle them, then you can work with someone and say, you know what, I have these 3 clients, and I'm going to give the one I can't handle to my buyer's agent. So it means they don't disappear. I don't make zero off of them. I still make money off of them because I couldn't have handled them anyway, and now I'm handling them. So it's when you get too busy with buyers, you have more buyers than you can handle. You can pick up a buyer's agent, and they'll want to work with you because you're going to feed them leads and deals. And that's a leverage thing.
Absolutely.
Some people, the problem with leverage is if you don't use it or understand it, when you get to that problem, you usually just lose clients or take on too many clients and then make them upset with you, right? Say, nah, man, Johnny really wasn't working out the way he used to. He didn't show up. He was disorganized. You don't want all that stuff.
So you're
you
saying
want to be organized.
Yes, you're saying with leverage is to be proactive rather than reactive. Otherwise, the leverage may not be as successful if you can.
I mean, sure, if you can, you just have to do it. You can't either be proactive, reactive, or stuck. If you're stuck, you're done.
Right.
You have to say, I have an opportunity to make more money. We see this repeatedly. I mean, as in the business coaching world, sit down with somebody and they present a problem, and it's almost like, well, why don't you just hire this person to do all this crap you don't want to do, and then go out and make more money? But we're stuck. We're an interesting breed of people because we do weird things. So you have to think in a more business sense. You need to leverage. You shouldn't leverage. How would I give this advice? My old mentor Larry would say you should only leverage when you're swamped. That's he's a very conservative guy. He would say when you are absolutely dead swamped, then you leverage out. Otherwise, you take as much as you can. I don't know if I agree with that all the time. Like I would leverage a transaction coordinator immediately.
But I think it depends as well as the investment that we're talking about. I mean, if we're talking about hiring someone like an admin, it may not be a necessary expense for $10 to $20 an hour or paying commissions based on sales. It may not be the best idea if you're not generating enough revenue to support that person, because then you may not be able to consistently pay that person, and then that's a whole nother story, right? So I understand it in that facet. But the idea of leveraging someone like a transaction coordinator, where it's a few $100s per transaction when the return to you is thousands, that is a time where I feel like maybe don't wait until you're swamped, or getting your database in order and leveraging your marketing pieces to automatically send out. That could be free depending on the system you're using. If you set things up in advance, leverage free tools, leverage tools that have minimal expenses. And then, when we're talking about hiring someone, paying someone a piece of your commissions or an hourly rate, that may be something that you need to evaluate because let's be real, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where right now you're busy, so you hire someone, next quarter you got no business, you got to let them go. It's just not the best thing. So,
yeah, I mean, the best exercise you could do would be to write down all the tasks that you have to do in a day, right? So write them all down, and then in some way possible quantify their importance and the value they have in making money. So when I am lead generating, that obviously makes me the most money. When I am servicing my client, that makes me money. When I am deleting old emails, I'm not making money, right? So like that. Okay, so you quantify them all and say, what would I want to get rid of? And you start to realize, man, there's a chunk of things I would really love to get rid of. Like that's an hour worth of time. And when you start thinking about it that way, you start finding ways to offload things or to honestly, in the beginning of a business too, ignore them. Like, my database is not organized. Okay, well, that's later. Or do it at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, don't do it during the money-making hours. I mean, another one as well is putting listings in MLS. Right. Are you doing that? How long is it taking you to do that? Someone told a great story. I believe it was Jackie Ellis with her daughter, right? And she said her daughter is phenomenal. And there was the whole story that Jackie told at Business by the Book, how her daughter said that it took her 3 to 4 hours to put a listing into MLS. Jackie's like, what? The amount of listings we have coming in, if that takes you 3 to 4 hours, that's a lot of time. And Jackie admits, I don't put listings in MLS, so maybe this is something that takes 3 to 4 hours. Maybe my daughter's over here just like, man, really just like getting away at it for 3 to 4 hours putting in a listing. So what she actually found out was it actually only took her 30 to 45 minutes to put in a listing, if I remember correctly was her time frame, that she was completely distracted by emails coming through and questions happening during the time that she was entering the listing into MLS. So what we find is the importance of bunkering. That's the conversation that Jackie led into. So if you are going to not leverage certain tasks like putting listings in MLS, then you got to make sure that when you are doing that, your email is closed and your phone is off, on silent, or turned over. Reason being is that one task, your one thing that you're focused on doing, could take you 3 to 4 hours, which is completely unproductive, when you could just get that knocked out in 30 minutes to an hour, however long it takes, right? If you got the photos ready, of course. And then you can jump into your next task.
Yeah.
So that was a great example of, if you're going to leverage, make sure you're monitoring how you're leveraging them and their means of staying focused. If you're not going to leverage, you need to be intentional about what you're doing with your time and what task you're focused on during that time.
Yeah. So if you have business questions, like what should I do at this point in my career in real estate, send them along. We'll point you in the direction we think is the best for leveraging something. We'll tell you this is not time to leverage. This is time to, stop making excuses about whatever you're doing and just do this thing. So we'll be upfront with you. So if you have questions about your real estate business, want to know where to go, when to do, something like that, hit us up.
Yeah, we'd love to help you.
It's going to be one of 3 things: leads, leverage, or love.
Oh.
Look how I did that?
I love that.
It's supposed to be listings.
Yeah, that was good though. I like that.
Okay, well, I switched.
That's good. Maybe they just need a little love in their life.
Actually, it might
Maybe
be.
that does fix it.
If
you're working 20-hour days, probably just need a little love.
Well, you know what?
Hang out with your friends.
If you're doing it, you don't love it. There's a whole lot of successful people out there, wealthy people out there, who will tell you got to love it.
You have to love it.
So,
if you're leveraging just so that you don't have to do tasks you don't want to do, well, that's what we talked about in episode 11, I believe, is the thing that separates wealthy people from the rest is the fact that they are willing to do things they don't want to do because they know that they have to.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between that and leverage, guys.
Believe me, I have struggled with that for my whole life.
Probably always will.
Things I don't want to do, it's like, ooh.
I need a vacuum today. I don't want to.
That's why I have a Roomba. Leverage.
Leverage. A little robot.
You know what the only problem with the Roomba is? I'm only going to take 12 seconds to say it. The compartment's so small. The Roomba needs to be 12 times bigger. It needs to be a Boomba.
You know what a Boomba?
Yeah.
Like a boombox?
Like a boombox. Yeah, I want music and
have y'all
massive.
seen Music and Massive?
Music and Massive. I want it to be.
Yeah.
That's the name of our next company.
Have y'all seen, I'm guessing you have, the video of people putting their babies or their cats dressed up in shark costumes on the Roomba? I think a lot of people have seen it. Those videos went viral a few years ago. I tried putting my cat on the Roomba. It was horrible. He literally...
The cat's right behind us right now. She's like, don't tell this story.
So Olivia could care less. She would just be like, this is stupid, Mom. But my little one-eyed guy, they're both rescues. I tried putting him on it because I thought this will be so cute.
Am I a rescue? I just realized this. You know that moment when you realize you...
I like helping things that had rough lives. What we do. Anyways, I went to go set Mac on the Roomba, and I don't know if you guys have seen the cucumber videos with cats. It didn't work with my cats, but the Roomba had the same effect. Literally, he jumped up in an arch, and I swear he froze midair. He just froze in the arch position, and it was bad. I mean, I really scarred my little guy with the Roomba. But I was hopeful that I could put him in a shark suit and have him right around it in the house, but no, not so much. So anyways.
You will find that most cat owners feel that they are providing love to their cats and the cats are being tortured.
I don't ever torture my cats.
My mother.
I don't.
Yeah, you just put them on top of a Roomba.
No, that was right when I first got the Roomba. But that was because people posted videos of their cats enjoying the Roomba experience. That was cat torture. Just like when I have a little baby, I'm going to put the baby on the Roomba as well and see how it responds.
See how it
Actually, can I borrow somebody else's baby to try it first?
You should borrow a baby first.
Whose baby can I borrow?
Lori Rogers has a new baby.
Lori, can I borrow your baby?
Matt has a new baby.
Amanda, Matt, can I borrow Caroline?
There you go. There you go. Okay. Now that we've settled that, into our love section. I didn't say love. I said love.
Love section.
I think, you should have a theme song. Cristen can sing. So one day we're gonna get you to sing it. You have a wildly beautiful voice.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And you will sing when no one else is around, and I will listen. Well, I'm around, but you don't know I'm listening.
I was gonna say, is that like one of those scenarios where if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there, does it really make sound?
If a man does something wrong and a woman's not there, is he still wrong? No, what is it? If a man does something and a woman's not there, is he still wrong?
Always.
Damn it.
Duh.
So I guess the tree makes noise.
Because she always finds out.
Speaking of, people have loved our movie reviews, and we just saw the movie Anon. Anon?
I don't know.
So we're not going to do it now, but
It looks so cool.
It
It's a really cool concept.
wasn't that cool.
I think it was a cool concept. However, too much booby.
Like I told you, when Hollywood gets lost, they go to
throw in boobies. I don't get it. It's so unnecessary.
It's Hollywood. There's lots of problems with Hollywood.
And it's also because it lasts so long. It's like just a quick shot, like, oh, they're getting after it. Clearly, I mean, we are in the love section. We can talk about this. But we're like, oh, he likes her and she likes him, and bow chicka bow bow. But then it's like 5 minutes later, we're still on bow chicka bow bow.
Yeah. Movies, and it's a problem with Hollywood.
Yeah.
When they don't know what to do without adding in
drugs.
sex.
That. Anyways, cool concept.
Whew. Okay. Now we're getting into like a serious thing, so we have to.
Yeah, but it's fantastic. I think it's an awesome, awesome thing to share. So I don't think it's necessary. It doesn't have to be serious. This is so informative and so helpful, and I think people need to be able to visualize this to understand the type of love that they deserve or they would like to have. That actually means that a relationship will last.
Yeah. So Kristen and I were discussing this with the concept of love. We call this the spectrum of love.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to figure out why relationships thrive and why relationships dive, right? And putting it that, because we'll say stuff, you'll say something like, man, they're working out. Like, you'll see a couple and you're like, they're quirky, but they work out.
Mm-hmm.
We have our friends Paul and Kelly. They're different than us. They're an awesome couple. But we work out differently than they do.
Mm-hmm.
We have Matt and Meg. They're so different than us, but they work out. So it's like, it's not, you don't have to be a certain way. It's how you get along, and what does that mean? So the concept of what we went through was love. Define love. Mm-hmm. So asking our users at home, what is define love right now? And so as you think of that definition, if you go around a room of people and say define love, you never get the same answer.
Oh, sure.
Right? People say all sorts of different things. They will say a common answer you will get. And first of all, it's hard to do. You say define love, someone goes, and then they say something.
Because they usually just want to provide a list of attributes.
Right. It's hard to do. It's just, and you're like, well, this is how I feel. You get confused.
Yeah, I want to feel like this. They should do this. Yeah.
And then what people will say commonly, one theme you'll get is caring about somebody more than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
To that I say no.
Mm-hmm.
That is a parent. A parent by nature cares about their child more than themselves. When you see a mama duck with her little babies, she will fight anything to protect the little babies. That to me is parental love. But when you say you care about somebody more than you care about yourself, well, how often? Like, what percentage of the time? Because we see you'll see people say that and then they'll do stuff and you're like, that wasn't, you don't always care about somebody more than yourself. That's servant. And it's just not logical. It's not really true.
Well, it's also being a fixer, right? Which we've talked about. Is someone who's in a relationship with someone who needs them, literally, because that person likes helping to fix people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying fix people like in a negative way. I'm using this term because I've been there. I understand. Where you meet someone and you're like, oh my gosh, they're going through such a hard time. They have this stress and this stress and this stress. And if I do this, this, and this for them, I can help them.
Right.
And then in turn, you end up draining yourself and you have nothing left in your bucket. And so that's where that servant piece comes in, which isn't really love. It's not an equal love.
Right. And so one of the concepts we had here is that you have to think about love that it is a spectrum, that it's a scale. Mm-hmm. And at one end is pure love. Pure love is the act of doing something for somebody when wanting nothing in return. That is pure love. That can be done in the simplest of ways. You see a gentleman drop $1, and so the person behind him picks up that $1 and gives it right back to them, and walks away. Didn't need anything in return, just wanted to do it because it was the right thing. That is an act of pure love, because you wanted nothing in return. Saying to someone, you look wonderful today, and not caring at all about their response, nothing, you just said that. That is pure love. On the other side of the spectrum is tainted love. Tainted love is giving something to someone and wanting more than you gave in return. So that's the other end. The problem is that what we were talking about is they seem the same. You're beautiful.
Thank
You can't tell. You're welcome. You can't tell if that was pure or tainted. You're beautiful. You don't know which one's tainted. You don't know really until later because it takes time to uncover all this stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Pure love is you're beautiful, and the person who said it, whether you say thank you or not, it doesn't matter. Let's be honest, we're in a relationship. You're in a relationship. You're going to have rough days. People have rough days where you look at the person and go, you're beautiful. They're not feeling beautiful, or they're frustrated, and they're like, thanks. And then you go. So what tainted love looks like in some ways is you're beautiful, and then she doesn't say the right thing in return, and you're like,
thank you, and then I walk away.
And then you're like, I wanted her to say, you're handsome and awesome. I wanted better then. So now I have this, I'm putting notches on the belt. Hey, I made dinner last night. Now I want her to make dinner the next 2 nights, right? That is tainted love. Again, hard to sniff out at first, right? So then kind of like the meridian or the midline is wanting something equal in return. When I say I love you, I want you to say I love you back in the same way. So then the reason we talk about this is on this spectrum of love, which is eye-opening in some ways, isn't it? It's like, whoa, it's true. You meet people and you're like, I get it. They love me. It's just the spectrum on which they love me and the spectrum on which I love them isn't working. So what we call true love is when you take this spectrum and when you and your person, whoever they are, friend, whatever, are on the same part of that line, that's true love. If Cristen loves me, when she says, let's just say she's the middle. When she says, when she gives love, she wants it back in return the same way. And when I give love, I want it back in the same way. That's going to be true love. It's going to work because we understand we're synced up. If Cristen is way up near the pure love, meaning most of the time she doesn't want much back. She just, just a little bit back. But I'm more down in the middle of the line where I want it back all the time. Like I want what I give back. Well, sooner or later, I'm going to drain Cristen. And so obviously this is a moving scale. But when you understand it and you think about your partner, you start to think, you know what? If I'm not in line with them on that, sooner or later I'm going to drain them. Or if I don't let them in enough, I'm going to drain myself. And it's just a neat concept in that sense to think, what, love doesn't need to be one definition. When you think of it on the scale, you start to understand the reason they're such good, and you start to realize, man, the reason I'm such good friends with Paul is we got true love in that sense. We just, there were times when he was broke in life and I would pay for everything for him. Later in life, I needed money, and what did he do? Pay for me. It all worked out in the end. Like when we always, were complimenting each other through that spectrum. And when you have those friends, and we've been through it both, right? You have those friends where you're like, sooner or later, you're like, I don't really want to see them anymore, man.
Yep.
Like, because they were fun, but their love spectrum was taking too much from me, and I wasn't either asking for enough or getting enough. And so it's, or they weren't willing to give enough, and it wears out. So maybe understand where relationships go more. Love, it always works in the beginning because it takes a while to drain the tank, right?
And I think it's interesting too. I believe we talked about this on the last episode, the last podcast, where we talked about how it's challenging as you mature in life that you lose friends, right? And so that was either the last one or episode 10, but this has a lot to do with that. So the challenging part is there are certain times in our life where we can give more than we receive because we have the energy to. So an example of that is, when I was just responsible for myself and, wasn't too worried about finances because I was renting a small place, and really the only thing I cared about paying for was just getting my rent, my water bill, and my electric paid, and life was pretty easy, right? And so there's that time frame in your life so you can give to friends and not really need much back because you're pretty good. You don't really have anything big going on in life. But then you mature and you add in relationship with someone, you add in children, you add in, the the expectations of a job. Maybe your job requires you to travel or requires you to work more hours. And then you notice that your friendships begin to change a bit because you cannot potentially give as much as some people needed you to. And so to them, it's not enough, and so the friendship's not worth having.
Well, you're also talking about the concept there too is you were draining the bucket, just all things in life changed, and now your bucket was way smaller.
Right.
And it just, I think you may have already been on a path, right? It's like,
oh, absolutely.
Because you are a very giving person, and you don't ask a lot in return. But the truth of, as we look at the spectrum of love, is for you to have a long-lasting relationship, you need to be with someone who is very similar. Mm-hmm. At least, it doesn't always need to be the same, but in the same. You need to be with somebody awesome, someone who is caring, someone who is, what am I doing? Why are these pointing? What has two thumbs and has got Cristen tied down to a contract forever? Yeah,
and that's exactly it. And it's but I think it's harder to recognize when your
bucket's bigger, though.
You're
right.
When you don't have to. When you're younger, I don't think we value time as much as we do. When we have more priorities in our life, job, family, relationships, right? Whatever that may be that's a priority in your life. Friendships are equal priorities, but when you have multiple friendships, and some of them are not supporting your other priorities, so much so that when you say, hey, I got a new job, or I'm in a relationship, and the response is, oh, well, good for you. Or, okay, so anyway, so what I was saying about my job is, oh, it's just like, wait a second. And so even though you knew that of that person always, before it didn't matter as much because maybe there wasn't the emotional maturity to recognize the person that they were and that the friendship wasn't a healthy one or that the love wasn't a healthy love. And so it's interesting now in life how when you told me about the spectrum of love, it was so incredible to kind of see where the friendships went, right? That they were always on that spectrum of feeling like they drained me and like I was giving and I was okay with not getting anything back. But then when you start to look at your time and you value your time more because you realize that the time not with your children and not with your spouse, if you're sharing that with someone, it needs to be valuable. And it's all right if you're wasting the time, right? Time enjoyed wasting isn't wasted, we say. But that person is taking from you consistently. We all have our days, but consistently, that love is not a true and healthy love.
It's over a period of time.
Exactly. We have our days where it's not, we have our days where I'm like, tell me how wonderful I am. I need to hear it. I'm struggling. Just make it all about me. But if that was every day, that would not be a healthy love. And so
that was the kind of thing. It's like, why do Chris and I work out so well? And this is where we came to is like, because the love given is so similar over a period of time. Like, sure, there's days, but over a long period of time, it's so similar. And we talk about it. It's true. We really do. We check in with each other. And we're good at reading each other's tank level. And you're actually making me think, maybe one of the best things you could do is have a small tank. Because you have the big tank when you're young. You don't, the smaller it is, the less you have to learn, right?
That's all about the maturity. My parents are both almost 60 and they've been together a long time. It's incredible. It's exciting. And one of the hardest things for my parents is they talk about how their group of friends have gotten smaller. And I feel sad for them in a sense that when they have parties, it used to be a couple hundred people, right? And they were all close friends, right? And then in time and life changes, whether, friends got divorced or job situations change, my parents started reevaluating, like, who do they enjoy being around, right? Because at this point in life, my parents are starting to realize even more so the value of time. Because they're closer to retirement and they want to travel and do these things and really enjoy their marriage together with no kids in the house and all of that, right? They're empty nesters now. And that's such a beautiful thing to sit back and go, who do I want to spend my time with? And reevaluating things. Now, they didn't call up friends and they're like, we're not friends with you anymore. But the interesting thing about this is certain people just stopped showing up. And it wasn't because my parents changed. It was because my parents stopped giving to the capacity that they used to. Not that they expected anything. They just stopped going, oh, you drank 3 bottles of wine that were $300 each at dinner, I'll pick up the tab. Or they stopped saying, you haven't come to the last 6 Christmas events that we've done, and we'll just keep on inviting you and keep on calling you and asking where you are. They stopped doing that. And I think it's a beautiful thing that now when we have parties, our 4th of July party is huge, and we're going to that in a few weeks. I'm so excited. It's beautiful to see that all the people there, my parents are so happy because everybody that's there, they want there, and those people want to be there. And so it's neat to see ourselves go through this transition in life and maturity, but knowing that it'll happen again when you become empty nesters, and it's just neat.
Well, it's as you can see, I mean, we've got to wrap it up, but it's sliding.
It is.
You can give one type of love one year, and this is also in relationships. You change the type of love you give, the other person doesn't, and then you're going to drain it. And so I guess my one last thing for people is, I think it is the healthiest thing you can do with this. If you take this exercise and you go to your partner and go, see, you don't give me the right love. You don't love me the way I love you. Use a little time for introspection. I think some people get lost on what they ask for in return. You need to be very real with yourself. I would say on the scale of love, for me, is when I give something, I want a lot in return. I don't want more. I want a little bit less, but I still want something in return. Kristen's the same way. Like if you're like, oh, I give something and I don't need anything in return. Just make sure that that's true, because if it's true, it doesn't affect you. That means if you tell someone they're handsome and they never tell you you're beautiful, right, or they never respond or they never go back, it doesn't bother you at all, then that's the truth. But if
or
you
even, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, but I'm saying you just need to just make sure because people fool themselves that stuff and go, I give love and I just need nothing in return. Which our relationship is very like we give and I don't know if we just have accepted that it's give and receive. Again, not every day. There are days when one person needs more than the other, but it's very give and receive. And there are times when we do things that ask for nothing in return, but they are very, like she does something that asks for very little in return. She does something wonderful for me, and then she gets something wonderful. And so there's a very good balance there.
Yeah, I was saying it might be easier, instead of thinking about you're handsome, what do you expect in return? I think even something that could be helpful is you think about tasks done around the house, or serving someone, right? Because the 5 love languages, one of them is services. So let's say that Jeff's gone at work, and while he's gone, I take a half day because I got everything done and I leveraged, and I decide to do all the laundry and scrub the place top to bottom, do the grocery shopping, and have dinner made when he gets home. If he walks in the door and gives me a hug and a kiss and sits down and I serve dinner and he says nothing, it will break my heart. Because I need some sort of acknowledgement for, thank you for spending your time to do this, or the house looks incredible and I can't believe you did all this, and thank you for dinner. That's it. I don't need him to go like over the top about it for hours and hours, but I need it to be acknowledged. So think of it as maybe in services could be helpful, because there's plenty of times where I'll tell him, like I'll give him a compliment and I really don't need him to say anything back. I genuinely do not. However, with acts of service, I find myself, I need it to be acknowledged. So maybe think of it in that scenario. That could be helpful because I don't know many people that will go out of their way for someone, spending their time and their energy on someone, not even verbalizing, and then not even having someone acknowledge it back.
Right.
So that's another way. So the verbalizing and also the action. So the 5 love languages is helpful in kind of categorizing what you need back from someone, if anything,
right.
And then you can use that scale.
You can understand it, which is good, because it also lines up if I come home and my idea is, well, you had the day off, you had a half day, you should have done it, right? Then that's, again, what type of love am I giving? I'm thinking like, you should be doing this.
Yeah, it's tainted.
That love, it's actually, this made me figure out, this is why you have, and I don't want to say it so negatively, but you need those two crabby, nasty people that get along. If you both have tainted love, you kind of work out.
So it could be true love.
You're just pulling off each other. Right? It kind of can work out. Like you can drain somebody and then they drain you. And you see these relationships where you're like, man, they are screwed up. It all of a sudden was like, boom. It's tainted love matched up. So, but not enjoyable, right? It's not enjoyable to take.
That's why we just truly in this, the importance of it is not everybody's true love is the same. And by no means do we judge someone's love, because everyone's love is different. So if you both take, and that works for y'all, it works for y'all. What works for us is a healthy give and take without an expectation of much. However, we do expect from each other that there is the verbalization of I appreciate you and thank you for what you did, and we do have that healthy level of expectation from each other.
We've established an equilibrium. That's what true love is. It's the equilibrium of what I give, I get back. So if I give 3 and get back 1, this person gives 3 and gets back 1, and we're equal, right? It's always equal. Or if I give 1 and get 1, whatever it is. And I know it makes it sound simple, but it really is a good concept. So this is something you can take for your relationship and maybe even find an area where you can improve and say, you know what I think it is? We're not synced up on this, and that's why maybe I'm a little drained right now. And again, true love doesn't mean it's the only love that works. Sure. It's just a status of what you are right now, because true love can fall out. Right? You can get a different job and do something. In fact, one of our friends just said her husband had a job and it was draining him. So it was taking away his ability to love her the way he had in the past.
It's not that he didn't love her. He was drained from his
love
job.
was down. His love was lower on the scale of what he was able to give, and her love was stayed here. Doesn't mean they're out of love. They're just not synced, right? This is all love. It's just out of sync. So then, she said, I'm so excited about this new job, and so is he, because I get him back. That's a wonderful, beautiful thing. It's incredible. It's fun to think about that stuff.
But they also talked about it. They talked about it, and he made a big decision. And career transition's huge for anybody. That's change is scary, period. So it's incredible that they work together in that rather than giving up on it. So it's inspiring.
It was time for him to quit being a male dancer.
Yeah.
It just didn't.
I mean, he looked great, though, up there on stage. He worked that pole.
Yeah. So many
literal.
jokes.
Literal. No, we can't end on this.
Yes, listen, we can't be serious for that long. And we were serious. So spectrum of love. Take the concept. Tell us what you think. I'm a huge fan. But it certainly helped open our minds, and I'm just glad we put that through. So share that with a friend. Share that with other people. Use it for your life. And we will see you next week.
See you next week.